What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be watching the most disturbing real found footage iceberg. I think this is going to be good, y'all, so let's get right into it.
I recorded it.
26 real found footage, 7 levels. This iceberg has some of the most disturbing things to ever be caught on camera. Some so depraved that they have never been released to the public. The deeper we go, the more horrific it gets. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg. Level 1. Ivan Lester McGuire.
McGuire.
35-year-old Ivan Lester McGuire was a seasoned skydiver known for his adventurous spirit. His love for skydiving led him to become a prominent figure in the community with more than 800 jumps under his belt.
Out of his damn mind.
Tragically, Ivan's life came to a sudden end on April 2nd, 1988, while he was doing what he loved. He was on his third jump of the day at the Franklin County Sports Parachute Center in Lewisburg, North Carolina. He was filming a first-time student and an instructor jump for a promotional video, a seemingly routine task for him, but it would turn out to be his last. The video equipment in his backpack captured Ivan's leap from the plane at an altitude of 10,500 feet. As he free fell down to the ground.
Alright, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, that's like one of my biggest fears. I've never skydived, and I never will. I hate heights. And I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. No, thank you.
He focused on getting footage of the tandem jump. He was so focused that he didn't realize that he had forgotten one very vital thing: his parachute. Footage captured the tragic moment Ivan realized he had made a costly mistake. The video cuts out before he hit the ground. Ivan's body was later found in the woods, and his death was ruled a freak accident.
Oh.
Eliza Lamb's death. Standing tall in the heart of downtown and steeped in dark history, the Cecil Hotel is one of Los Angeles' most infamous buildings. It once housed serial killers Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger. Not just that, an astonishing number of deaths have happened behind its walls, many of them unexplained and strange, like that of Eliza Lamb. Eliza Lamb was a 21-year-old Canadian student who had taken time off from her studies to travel the West Coast. Every day, she checked in with her parents. When they didn't hear from her on February 1st, 2013, they called the police. When officers searched her room, they found her computer, clothes, wallet, and medication. There was no sign she had left. The only thing missing was her phone. They also couldn't find her anywhere in the hotel. What made her case especially eerie was the bizarre elevator footage they had found. In the video, Eliza is seen getting into the elevator and pressing several buttons. Then she began peering down the hallway, almost like she was hiding from someone. The erratic behavior didn't end there. Eliza then stepped back into the hallway, shuffling in and out before finally waiting on the side. At some point, she went back in and pressed even more buttons before returning to the hallway. At one point, she appeared to be talking to someone there. Then, she walked away, and seconds later, the elevator door slid shut.
Dude,
it was the last moment Eliza would be seen alive again.
Oh my god, dude, that's creepy.
The footage went viral, and viewers speculated about what could have been happening. Was she running from someone, or under the influence of drugs? Some even said she had been pulled into the other world after playing the infamous elevator game. In the end, the search for Eliza stalled and daily life continued at the Cecil Hotel.
She was hiding from somebody.
Then, guests began to complain about low water pressure. Finally, on February 19th, 3 weeks after Eliza's disappearance, maintenance workers decided to do something about it and went up to the roof to check the 4 tanks. It was there they discovered Eliza's lifeless body.
Bro, no,
they also found her room key and...
Somebody was after her, dude. She was hella paranoid, like looking all around, scared. Somebody was after her, 100%.
Her watch, but there was still no sign of her phone. Eliza's death was ruled an accidental drowning.
Bullshit.
It was also discovered that she had stopped taking her bipolar medication leading investigators to believe that her unusual behavior was caused by hallucinations.
I mean, that is a little
It also
weird
explained
what
a
she's
couple of
acting
things
there,
the
yeah.
hotel guests had said about her. When Eliza first lodged in the hotel, she was in a shared room with a group of girls, but she was moved to a single room when her bizarre behavior creeped them out.
Maybe
She would lock them out and demand passwords to let them in. She also left notes that said, "Go away" and "Go home" all over the room. However, many questions lingered about how she got into the
how would
tank
she
in
get
the
in
first
there,
place.
bro?
The hotel had locked access points, and the tank
Yeah, and then she was like reaching around, like she was touching something. She was either hallucinating or I don't know, maybe like trying to wave somebody to calm down or something. But like, dude, like if she was hallucinating and everything, how the hell would she get in there?
themselves were not easily accessible and quite heavy to open. Traces of
Nah.
beach sand had also been found on her clothes, which have still not been explained.
What?
The eerie circumstances surrounding Eliza's death and the shadows of the Cecil Hotel have made her story a chilling part of internet lore, sparking countless theories and discussions.
That is crazy.
Kachin landslide. The Pakant area.
Before this next one starts, I just think that somebody was after her. Like, dude, how else would you have beach sand on you and end up in that tank? There's no way. I don't believe that for a second. Somebody murdered her.
Area of Kachin in Myanmar is the place where almost all of the jade used in the world comes from. Unregistered freelance miners would go to the sites, searching for any scraps left behind by the larger companies. But it's a lot riskier in monsoon season, and July of 2020 was no different. On July 1st, a warning had been issued against mining because of heavy rainfall, but suddenly, the ground beneath them began to shift.
Holy
Around
crap.
6:30 a.m., a heap of mining
Holy.
waste collapsed, sending a massive pile of mud and debris into a nearby lake. Witnesses described a 20-foot-high wave engulfing everything in its path. In mere moments, hundreds of miners were buried alive beneath the mass before they even knew what had happened.
Oh my god.
Rescue efforts
bro.
began, and emergency responders worked tirelessly to save lives. But as they pulled out body after body, the grim reality of the situation set in. Many of the miners would not be found alive. In the end,
Holy
the death
shit,
toll
dude.
reached 100.
Dude, that's insane. It looks like half a fucking mountain is coming down. Like,
74, and more than 100 would never be found. An unsettling reminder that while
174.
the jade industry continued to thrive, the human cost is buried in the rubble of Pakant.
that was
Level
hella
2,
fucked.
Nepal earthquake. On April 25, 2015, the ground
this is
beneath
gonna be
Nepal
bad.
began to tremble, and in an instant, everything changed. The day had started like any other in the bustling city of Kathmandu. People filled the streets, vendors shouted out their wares, and the aroma of street food wafted through the air. Then, just before noon, there was a deep rumbling, buildings swayed, and the ground cracked open as people ran for cover. The epicenter of the earthquake was near Lamjung, but the impact was felt across the entire region. Ancient temples crumbled, like the famous Darahara Tower, once a proud sentinel of the city, leaving behind a mound of rubble.
Holy
When the
crap.
dust settled, the country was plunged into a state of emergency as rescue efforts began.
Bro, that's like this major Venezuelan earthquake that just happened, dude. Y'all see how many people died? Like, probably like over 7,000 people. There was like 70,000 that were missing. Like, dude, and then there's some like 5 or 6 other major earthquakes all around the world that just happened recently. It's crazy. Earthquakes are terrifying. I haven't personally been in an earthquake, but no thank you.
To save people who were trapped under the debris. Aftershocks continued to rattle the ground, keeping everyone on edge. The earthquake claimed 9,000 lives, not just in Nepal, but also in China, Bangladesh, and India.
Oh my lord.
It also triggered an avalanche on Mount Everest.
Dude, that's like in Venezuela it was a 7.5 and then a 7.2 after. Look, that's 7.8, 7.3. It's gonna be probably around the same amount of people that died in Venezuela. Those earthquakes were bad. I was watching footage today.
That would take 19 lives. A decade later, many survivors have still not recovered from what they experienced that day. If you've stuck around this far, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on my next disturbing footage iceberg. Level 3. Columbine Basement Tapes.
Oh, these are terrible, man.
On April 20th, 1999, 14 students and 1 teacher lost their lives at Columbine High School. 2 students, Eric Harris and Dylan Claybold, stormed in with guns drawn before turning the guns on themselves. After the shooting, the police found videotapes that the two had made leading up to the tragic shooting. Set in Dylan's basement and bedroom, the 3-hour tapes have come to be known as the basement tapes. They give a pretty unsettling peek into the minds of the perpetrators. These tapes have never been released to the public and were only played once for a handful of people. Some argue that releasing the tapes would have helped in identifying disturbing behaviors and preventing similar incidents from happening. Others believed it would just inspire more of them. In the end, the police decided for everyone. They announced in 2015 that every single one of the tapes had been destroyed. The only tapes out there of the two are the home videos they took together. But even those have chilling hints of what was to come. Lamia Flight 293.
Those two fucking pieces of shit started basically the entire damn school shooting epidemic. Pretty much. Now we get so many mass shootings. It's ridiculous, dude. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's just because our society is collapsing. Yeah, poor parenting, constant echo chambers of just kids being chronically online, and echo chambers of just negativity and dude, I'm telling you, it's phones, being online, and society nowadays has just gone to shit. And that's why there's so many mass shootings now.
November 28th, 2016. Excitement filled the air as the Chapecoense soccer team boarded Lamia Flight 293. They were headed to Medellin, Colombia for the biggest match.
I'm sorry, guys. Oh, and not only that, but the Columbine shooters became so famous, and now the problem is that we keep putting these mass shooters on the news and making them famous when we shouldn't at all. That's the worst thing we can do. We gotta stop making these pieces of crap famous. Anyway.
Of their lives, the Copia Sudamericana finals. The players were buzzing with anticipation, sharing laughs, posting selfies on social media, and capturing the moment on their phones. "Can't wait to make history," one player wrote, accompanied by a photo of the clouds below. Little did they know that this flight would be their last. Phone footage captured the moment the cockpit dropped the first clue that something was wrong.
This is another one of my major fears, dude. I hate flying. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I can't imagine being on a plane that starts going down. No.
Towards the rear of aircraft. That should be white, so it suggests there has been quite a bit of smoke. Potentially maybe some fire as well.
This was the last footage captured on the plane. The passengers didn't know it, but the plane didn't have enough fuel to handle the journey they were taking. As the plane approached Medellin, it began to struggle to stay aloft. Fuel levels continued to drop, then mere seconds before it would hit empty, the pilot told air control that he needed to make an emergency landing. But it was too late. Minutes later, the plane crashed into the side of a mountain. Of the 77 people on board, only 6 survived, wiping out 19 players, as well as the manager and most of the coaching staff.
Oh my God.
The dreams of the Brazilian soccer club died with them that day. Stockton arsonist. In the late summer of 1989, Stockton, California was about to become the center of a chilling mystery.
Shout out to
It started
Nick
with
Diaz
Alfonso
and Nick
Lua's
Diaz.
car overheated along Interstate 205. As he and his son went over to a nearby house to get help, they spotted a camouflage jacket by the roadside with an unlabeled homemade videotape and took it with them. I'm not quite sure what they thought the tape would show, but it definitely wasn't a building going up in flames while someone watched, laughing maniacally and making bizarre comments. They immediately turned it over to the police, who quickly concluded that whoever made the tape had likely set the fire. The police returned to the house and found even more
Holy
curious
crap.
objects, like a wooden pestle, often used in satanic rituals, and a ceramic skull.
Oh my god.
They suspected that the arsonist might be involved in occult practices, but that's where the clues ended. They had no idea where the tape was recorded or whose house it was. As if that wasn't bad enough, newspaper clippings in the tape suggested the arsonist had been involved in at least 10 other fires. The case went cold till 1990 when the tapes were aired on the show Unsolved
10 other fires?
Mysteries. Tips poured in from viewers who recognized the burning house. It was located in Redwood City and was under construction at the time of fire. One caller pointed out that she had a 17-year-old neighbor called Omar, who then pointed police to a 19-year-old who eventually confessed to the crime. When the police searched the 19-year-old's home, they found many disturbing items. They found him
Bloody
just
knives?
in time.
Holy
Because of their
shit.
age, both were tried as minors. One ended up serving time in juvenile hall, while the other was committed to a state mental hospital.
Oh shit, dude, he went to a mental
Level
hospital.
4. Station Fire Night.
It said that they found bloody knives and like other weapons in that dude's house. Wow.
It was the night of February 20th, 2003, and the Station nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island was packed with a happy crowd.
No, I think I know.
The
this
80s rock band Great White was going to perform, and they were starting with their usual
one.
opener,
The fire,
Desert
yeah,
Moon.
The fire.
The group's manager, Daniel Bichelle, wanted a pyrotechnic display to accompany the song. But when he set it off, fans started screaming for a reason he never saw coming. The fireworks ignited the walls on either side of the stage.
Holy crap.
First, the audience thought it was part of the show, but then the flames spread to the highly flammable soundproofing foam that lined the walls and ceiling of the club. That's when the fire alarm went off. Panic set in, and even though the club had 4 exits, most people rushed through the narrow hallway they had come in through. The first few people got out okay, but behind them, the flames intensified and the hallway quickly became blocked. The terrified crowd pushed harder against one another, making escape that much more difficult.
Oh my god.
Barely 5 minutes after Daniel set off the pyrotechnics, the entire club was up in flames. The aftermath was heart-wrenching. 100
God.
people lost their lives that
Holy
night,
crap.
either from smoke inhalation, severe burns, or being trampled. One of them was
Whoa.
Great White's lead guitarist, Ty Longley. In the wake of the tragedy, investigations revealed several significant safety violations that inspectors had overlooked, like the flammable insulation foam and lack of a sprinkler system. The fallout was immense.
So you're
Daniel
telling me they had no damn sprinkler system in that building? Like, what the fuck?
Shell, the band's manager who authorized the pyrotechnics, pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and served 2 years in prison. The club's owners, Jeffrey and Michael Durdurian, were also tried, receiving suspended sentences.
So you're telling me that this man arguably killed 100 people and he got 2 years?
And serving time for their roles in the disaster.
What a fucking
Mountain
joke.
climbers' last footage. It was June of 2019, and authorities had recovered the bodies of 7 climbers on an unscaled peak in the Indian Himalayas. The group had been attempting to climb India's second highest peak, Nanda Devi, but there was still one person missing, 64-year-old Martin Moran, a veteran climber and the leader of the mountaineering expedition. But as they searched for him, they found a haunting GoPro camera. The footage was less than 2 minutes long and held the secret of the climbers' last moments. The day before, Martin had radioed in that they had successfully established a higher base camp and planned to make their summit attempt the following day. The camera captured the climbers as they slowly walked across a precarious snow ridge.
Oh my god, that looks
Suddenly,
dangerous.
there was a loud sound, and the video stopped. The official story is that moments after this footage was captured, the ridge collapsed under their collective weight, triggering the avalanche that would end their lives. Martin
Oh,
Moran's body
shit,
has
that
never
looked
been found.
Dude, that looks so
The
sketchy.
disappearance of Sophia McKenna and Spencer Mugford. 21-year-old Sophia McKenna was out sailing on Memorial Day weekend 2018 with her friend, 20-year-old Spencer Mugford. They had set off in a 14-foot sailboat with a plan to paddle to New London Ledge Lighthouse, a popular spot that was rumored to be haunted by the ghost of the lighthouse keeper. Before they left,
The ghost of the lighthouse keeper. And that last one with the people walking on the mountain, dude. Oh my god, like y'all are smoking crack. If you think I would ever do that, I mean, dude, it looked like if they even slip and fell, they just go off like 1,000-foot ledge. Like,
Sophia had put her phone in her locked car. Just before 2 a.m., Sophia used Spencer's phone to post a video on Snapchat showing the 20-year-old paddling the boat as they headed to the lighthouse. At 2 a.m., Spencer posted a photo of Sophia on Snapchat. She was standing in front of a concrete barrier that held a single warning, "No trespassing." This was the last time either of them was ever seen alive. The next day, Spencer did not show up to his brother's graduation, and Sophia missed an outing with her boyfriend in the afternoon. He contacted Sophia's mother, Michelle, to find out if she had heard from her. That's when Michelle remembered some odd notifications from the night before. 7 missed calls from an unknown number, all made in under 4 minutes. But when she called the number back, it went to Spencer's voicemail. Spencer didn't have Sophia's mother's number, so she soon realized that Sophia must have been the one who made those calls. That's when both families
Holy
realized
shit.
something was seriously wrong and contacted the police.
what?
Police searched the last location they had shared on Snapchat. Within days, their 14-foot boat was found washed up on a beach, and a week later, a fisherman found Spencer's body 4.5 miles away from the lighthouse.
Oh
An
my
autopsy
God,
would
dude.
rule his death an accidental drowning. Investigators believe the two had somehow fallen into the frigid water and lost their lives.
No
Sophia's
way.
body has
But why did they call 7 times? Damn.
never been found, leading many to speculate about what could have happened. Why had she called her mother 7 times but
Yeah.
never once called 911?
Yeah.
And why didn't she leave a message?
Yeah.
Level 5. Ricky Rodriguez. On January 25th, 1975, Karen Zerby and David Berg welcomed her son, Ricky Rodriguez, into the world. But Ricky was not a regular child. He had been born into the notorious cult, the Children of God, aka
Oh, these
the
wackos.
Family.
Oh no,
The
dude.
cult was started in the 60s by David Berg, based on a bizarre mix of end-time prophecies, and free love was encouraged, regardless of age.
Free love,
This was the world Ricky was born into, and David Berg believed that not only was he a future leader of the cult, but he was also the
Bro, this shit like blows my mind. I can't believe that there was cults that existed like this, and there's probably still cults that exist like this today. Like, it's just crazy to wrap your mind around.
chosen one. Ricky's childhood was far from regular. A 762-page pamphlet, commonly referred to as the Davidito Book, showed a disturbing glimpse into what growing up had been like for the future Messiah at the hands of his adult nannies. In 1994, the cult began receiving allegations of misconduct. In response, they turned over a new leaf, issuing apologies for many of their beliefs, especially the ones involving children. They also changed their name from the Children of God to the Family, but it was too little too late for Ricky, and he left the cult. But Ricky was not equipped to handle life outside the cult. Even though he got married, the two later separated, and Ricky befriended a network of disillusioned former members who, like him, had also been exposed to abuse at an early age. He became increasingly concerned that the cult was still getting away with creating more victims, and became more vocal against the adult nannies who had abused him, and posted threats on websites set up by former members of the cult. It all came to a head on January 7th, 2005. Ricky recorded a videotape discussing ending his life as well as his desire for revenge.
My
All the
God.
while, he presented an array of weapons and loaded guns. It was a tape he would later send to close friends. The next day, family members received a chilling phone call from him about a body in his Tucson apartment. It was there that they found the body of 51-year-old Angela Smith.
Dude, they must have did some fucked up shit to this guy for him to just go full Rambo mode like this.
One of the adult nannies who had allegedly assaulted him as a child. Ricky had lured her into his home and then ended her life. He then drove to Blythe, California, where he ended his life in his car. The family, still active to this day, continues to deny that any abuse ever happened.
Yeah, okay, dude. That's why I went in
Ricardo
and murdered
Lopez.
people and then killed himself.
One of the things that comes with being a celebrity is having fans. But unfortunately, some of them, like Ricardo Lopez, turn out to be stalkers. Socially reclusive and just plain odd, he became obsessed with Icelandic singer Björk in 1993. Over the next 3 years, he wrote about her in a diary he kept and even sent her fan mail. On the outside, it seemed innocent enough. His letters were never explicit. But when Björk got into a relationship with the English music producer Goldie in 1996, Ricardo went off the deep end. He switched from writing in his diaries to making lengthy hour-long videos. In many of them, he ranted about how she had tarnished herself as a symbol of purity by dating black men.
What the
Then
fuck?
he started to lay out a plan. He would send her a package that would infect her with AIDS.
Oh
then
my
he moved
God,
to a more
bro.
diabolical plan that would scar Björk for life, a letter bomb with sulfuric acid.
Holy fuck,
September
dude, this
12th,
guy's
1990.
insane. Holy shit. Dude, this guy is not only a racist piece of shit, but he's fucking psychotic.
1996, he mailed what would be his last and final letter to Björk's London home, the one rigged with sulfuric acid.
Oh, that's terrible.
That same
man.
day, after cutting his hair with scissors and with red and green zigzag paint
Stop, dude. Stop. Dude, this guy is fucking crazy. Like, I can't believe this is a real fucking person. Like, this really happened.
on his face, he made his last video diary. The video
Oh
ended with
my
Ricardo
God.
pulling the trigger when Björk's song I Remember You came to an end. His body was found 4 days later, but Björk was unharmed. That's because his plan had hit a couple of snags. For one, fan mail doesn't just show up at Björk's home. It would be first vetted. His letter was still in the process of being sorted at the London Postal Office when the authorities tracked it down and detonated it. Unlike many videos of people offing themselves, Ricardo's last tape and all his other videotapes are lurking online. It turns out the Hollywood Police Department's records unit had sold copies discreetly. While a lot of these YouTube channels have since been taken down, the video diaries are still out there, but none of his diaries have ever been released.
Bro, what is wrong
Killing
with my
of
camera?
Eric Garner.
Can it focus?
In July
please?
2014, Eric Garner, a 43-year-old African-American, found himself at the center of what would become a haunting chapter in American history. Officers Daniel Pantaleo and Justin D'Amico were in Staten Island, New York, responding to 911 calls about an altercation. But by the time they showed up, Eric had already broken up the fight. The NYPD had a long
Alright, hold on, dude. What is going on with my camera? I'm sorry, guys. Oh, it's better. Alright.
history with Eric. He had been arrested over 30 times over the past 3 decades, and most of it was over selling Lucy's, single cigarettes sold without tax stamps. Suspecting that he was up to his usual business, the officers confronted him about what he was doing there. His friend Ramsey Orta had whipped out his phone and began filming the confrontation. Despite Eric's protests, one of the officers, Daniel Pantaleo, decided to take matters into his own hands and suddenly grabbed Eric
Ooh,
from
we're naked
behind
too.
and tried to put him in cuffs. What happened next
Oh,
was
shit.
chilling. Pantaleo placed Garner in a chokehold, a move prohibited by NYPD regulations, while a group of officers
Yeah.
rushed in and piled on him.
Put him in a
Eric
rear naked.
pleaded for air 11 times, saying that he couldn't breathe.
Bro, yeah.
The
that's
officers
shit.
surrounding him did not relent. Instead,
Dude,
they held him
Jesus.
down, seemingly oblivious to his worsening condition.
Oh my god, dude.
Even when the officers noticed he was having trouble breathing and called for an ambulance,
Dude.
they played down what he was going through. Eventually, Eric lost consciousness on the
Oh my
sidewalk,
God,
and that's
bro.
when the officers laid him on his side. When the EMTs finally showed up, all they did was check his pulse for the next 2 minutes. Eric was put on a stretcher and whisked away, but it was too late. He died on his way to the hospital. The medical examiner later ruled his death was a result of the chokehold. In the weeks and months that followed, Officer
put him in a
Daniel was
fucking
stripped of his
rear-naked
gun and
choke.
badge.
Dude, what is going on with my computer and all these damn technical difficulties today? I'm sorry, guys. This is driving me crazy. But they put him in a rear naked choke, and like, that's literally just gonna fucking. You can't live from that for too long. Like, you're gonna pass out. You're gonna lose the air completely. And then they're just like manhandling his head and everything, like all on top of him, dude. Poor guy, man.
And put on desk duty along with another officer. The EMTs who transported Eric were also suspended for a short time. Meanwhile, video footage of the incident went viral, sparking protests across the country.
Dude, good.
There were also calls for justice and accountability for the
Yeah, for
officers
real.
involved.
That was fun.
However, when a grand jury decided not to indict Officer Daniel, the frustration only grew.
Yeah,
More
what the
people
fuck,
took to the
dude?
streets in solidarity, many chanting Eric's last haunting words, "I can't breathe." Meanwhile, Ramsey Orta, the man who had filmed the entire incident, was getting harassed by the police.
Nah.
He was arrested on a weapons charge the day after Eric's death was ruled a homicide. Even behind bars, he wasn't safe. One time, he and a group of other prisoners got sick after rat poison was put in their food. None of them was taken to the infirmary.
on.
By that time, the city had agreed to a $5.9 million payout to Eric's family. It had also gotten out that Officer Daniel had been investigated for misconduct 7 times in the past 5 years.
7 fucking
Despite his
times?
history, it took 5 more years before the NYPD even fired Daniel Pantaleo.
That's so
Killing
fucked
of
up.
Neda Agasultan. On June
Did I just hear that right?
It took 5 more years before the NYPD even fired Daniel Pantaleo.
5 more fucking years?
Killing of Neda Agasultan. On June 12, 2009, it was announced that Iran's incumbent president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad won election by over 60%. The news didn't go down well with the Iranian people. There had been many reports of irregularities during the election, including accusations of rigging and vote manipulation.
100%
That very
right.
night, thousands of people took to the streets protesting the result of the election. In response to the protests, police and paramilitary forces were ordered to suppress protesters any way that they could, no matter how violent. This decision
great regime.
would lead to dire consequences. On the 10th day of the protest, 26-year-old Neda Agasultan was driving to the protest ground with her music teacher. A philosophy student and an aspiring musician, she had never really gotten involved in politics before. They got held up in traffic about 1 kilometer from the protest ground, so they decided to leave the car. Neda was walking with her teacher when they heard a shot.
Bro, regardless of whether or not, however you feel politically about the Iran war, if we should have gone to war with them, if we shouldn't, regardless, they're such a treacherous piece of shit regime. Like, what did they do recently? They fucking mowed down like 30 to 40K of their own civilians. They literally cut the internet off in their entire country and then just started mowing down protesters. Like,
In the next moment, Neda fell to the ground with a scream. A doctor rushed to save her, but couldn't. According to him, whoever aimed at Neda fell to the ground with a scream. A doctor rushed to save her, but couldn't. According to him, whoever aimed at her was determined to end her life, and 2 minutes later, they got their wish. Neda was dead. The crowd quickly found the man who shot her and identified him as a member of the Basij government militia. The footage of Neda's death was captured on a mobile phone video and broadcast around the world, sparking outrage. In response, The government ordered her family to carry out an immediate burial, didn't allow them to mourn, and prohibited anyone from holding memorial services for her. Her grave was desecrated, and they even put out arrest warrants for eyewitnesses, including the doctor who had tried to save her. He soon left the country.
Oh my
It was
God,
clear that the
dude.
government's biggest fear was of Neda becoming a martyr or a face of the movement. Their fears were confirmed when Neda was named Person of the Year by Britain's Times newspaper. By then, her face had become a symbol of the resistance to the Iranian clampdown on protests, appearing on placards. Level 6. Chris Watts.
Oh my God.
It was
not
August
this fucking
13th,
guy.
2018, and Nicole Atkinson had just called the police. Her friend Shannon Watts had missed a business meeting and wasn't responding to calls and texts. She had also learned that Shannon had not shown up at her scheduled antenatal appointment. The alarm bells really started going off when Nicole went over to the home and her knocks went unanswered. Not long after, her husband Chris showed up and allowed the cops to search the house. They found the family dog, but no sign of Shannon. Her purse, phone, and her wedding ring were left
This clown,
behind,
dude.
raising more questions.
This clown just murders his entire family just so he can hook up with his mistress, dude. What a great guy.
But most disturbingly, there was also no sign of the couple's two daughters, Bella and Celeste. Her husband took to the airwaves, appearing on interviews on multiple news channels, pleading for the safe return of his family. When the police questioned him, he insisted that he hadn't seen Shannon since 5 a.m. of the previous day. But CCTV footage from a neighbor's house told a different story. In the early hours of the morning, Shannon was seen returning home from a business trip. It was the last time she would be caught on camera. The next person the camera caught was Chris, loading some things into his truck and driving away. No other person ever stepped out of the house. Chris took a polygraph test, which he failed. His story soon began to unravel, and he reluctantly confessed to his father Frank and later to the authorities. He claimed that he had taken Shannon's life in a fit of rage after he got home and found out that she had executed their daughters. The investigators didn't buy his story about what happened, and he was arrested.
Dude is so
In a chilling
manipulative.
interview,
Such a liar.
he later told investigators what he'd done to them. The discovery of their bodies was equally haunting. Chris had buried Shannon in a shallow grave at an oil site where he worked, then placed his daughters in crude oil tanks. All this
What a
was because he
fucking-
wanted to start a new life with his mistress, Nicole
Yeah,
Kessinger.
What a great guy,
On
dude.
November 6, 2018, Chris Watts entered a plea deal confessing to the murders in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole. He's been put in protective custody out of fear for his life. Disturbingly, there are women out there who send their pictures and letters to him.
Are you kidding me?
Killing
Dude, what is wrong with people and like why do these stupid women send all these psychopathic like killers letters and shit, dude? Like, what is wrong with people?
of Philando Castile. July 6, 2016 went by like any other day for Philando Castile. He'd gotten a haircut, visited his sister, and was driving home with his girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, and her 4-year-old daughter after shopping at a grocery store. They were on the way home when they were pulled over for a broken brake light by St. Anthony police officer Geronimo Yanez. It was a traffic stop that would end in a nightmare. After telling him why he had pulled him over, Officer Geronimo asked Philando for his driver's license and insurance. As he handed the papers over, Philando calmly informed the officer that he had a firearm as he was legally licensed to carry. But Geronimo's response and what followed
Holy
were
crap.
equally alarming.
Don't pull it out! Don't move!
40 seconds after pulling them over, 7 shots rang out. 5 would end up hitting Philando.
He killed my boyfriend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet. And the officer just shot him in his arm.
Diamond Reyes, who was sitting in the passenger seat, immediately began to live stream the aftermath on Facebook. Her phone captured Philando's final moments, as well as the 4-year-old in the back seat.
Oh my
In
god.
the video, she explained that all Philando had been doing was retrieving his license and registration like he had been told to. The footage quickly went viral, drawing outrage and disbelief, and protests erupted across the country. It didn't help that the real reason Philando had been pulled over had nothing to do with the broken taillight and everything to do with the fact he was mistaken for a suspect who had been involved in an armed robbery based on his wide-set nose. Geronimo's charged with second-degree manslaughter and 2 counts of dangerous discharge of a firearm. Many hoped that Geronimo would finally get justice, but he was acquitted of all charges.
Oh yeah, dude.
Jurors
So
believed
stupid,
there
man.
wasn't enough evidence.
They let the police get away with too much, dude.
To prove Philando hadn't been reaching for his weapon. But in the court of public opinion, Geronimo is 100% guilty. He has tried to get a teaching license and has been repeatedly denied. Philando's family later received a $3 million wrongful death settlement. Elaine Campione. It was 2006, and Leo Campione was in a nasty divorce battle with his wife of 6 years, Elaine. The proceedings were centered around the custody of their 2 young daughters, Serena and Sophia. Elaine argued that her ex-husband was abusive, while he argued that the children lived in terrible conditions and Elaine was in no state to take care of them. He wasn't wrong. In the past year alone, Elaine had had 3 psychotic breaks and had been acting bizarrely, saying she saw aliens and stopping one of her daughters from touching anything red. He wanted to have more access to his kids, but Leo's wish would never come to pass. On October 4th, just 1 week after he had made his request and a few days before a scheduled family court hearing, the police received an alarming call from Elaine, calmly telling them that her daughters' lives had ended. When they went to her home, they walked into a very disturbing scene. The bodies of the 2 girls tucked in, surrounded by stuffed toys, a photo album, and a rosary, dressed in pajamas, earrings, and necklaces, and holding hands.
Oh
In the
my
same room,
god!
they found a videotape that told them all they needed to know. The earlier part of the video starts with Elaine singing the birthday song to Serena. Then it switches to the night of their deaths and shows Elaine filming her daughters and talking with them. Tape also captures her talking about her former husband's allegations. After that, it cuts to the kids again. When the tape picks up, Elaine is alone in the shot, accusing him of trying to take her children. After executing them on camera, she launched into another tirade. The video skips to Elaine admitting to trying unsuccessfully to end her own life. Elaine was arrested and charged with both deaths. At trial, her defense argued that she was not guilty by reason of insanity and her husband had been abusive and that she was also a victim of a different assault. But the jury did not believe this was enough to excuse what she had done, and she was sentenced to 25 years to life.
Good. Hopefully she's
Anatoly
safe in there.
Slyuko. When 11-year-old Andrei went missing in Nevinomysk, southern Russia, in 1975, his mother's suspicions immediately fell on 37-year-old.
Let me just say something really quick about this other guy. Let's just rewind it a little bit. Or about that last one. Dude, there's no excuse for slaughtering your 2 daughters. I don't care how much abuse you went through or whatever, or you claimed insanity. Dude, that's a crock of shit. Nah.
Southern Russia in 1975, his mother's suspicions immediately fell on 37-year-old Anatoly Slyuko. He was known to make video recordings in the nearby forest, and her son had told her he would be attending one of them before his disappearance. But the police didn't look into him. Anatoly was well known for his efforts to educate and entertain the local youth through his youth club, Chergid. He'd won awards as a local filmmaker and even had the title of Honored Teacher of the Soviet Union. There was no way such a man could be involved in the young boy's disappearance. Years passed, and more boys disappeared in the area without a trace. The police would tell the parents that the boys were runaways and would later return, but they never did. When Sergei Pavlov disappeared in 1985, prosecutor Tamara Langaeva learned that he was going to meet the leader of Chergid before he disappeared. It was a story that had come up with many of the boys who had gone missing. They either attended Anatoly's club or disappeared after saying they were going to take part in the movies he filmed. She questioned the members and quickly found a disturbing trend. Many of the boys had agreed to be hanged till they lost consciousness for Anatoly's homemade movies. He promised to retrieve them immediately. They showed up, and he would give them brand new Boy Scout uniforms to wear, shine their shoes, and begin. But they would never remember what happened after. This was enough for the prosecutor to get the police involved. During a search of Anatoly's youth club, the officers found several photos and films showing not just hangings, but Anatoly performing obscene acts on the boys.
Oh, dude.
A few of them appeared lifeless.
Jeez.
They also found several pairs of shoes belonging to victims that had been cut in two.
Oh my
Trophies he had
God.
kept, as well as the knives he used.
Holy shit,
Anatoly was
dude.
arrested and would later confess to 43 hangings, 7 of which ended in deaths.
Holy
Shockingly,
crap,
it was the
dude.
only
This guy
reason
was
he had
Satan.
started the club. To lure boys in so he could get content for all his disturbing fetishes.
Oh,
That had been
my
going on for
God,
over
bro.
2 decades. In
Oh my God,
1985,
2 decades?
Anatoly was executed.
Oh, thank God, man. Thank God
Level
the Russians
7
put his ass down. Hope they fire
of Haley Kiefer and Nicholas Brady. It was the day after Thanksgiving of 2012. The Morrison County Sheriff's Office received a call from 64-year-old Byron David Smith telling them
What
he
an
had
ugly
taken
son of a
out
bitch.
2 burglars who had broken into his home. The police would find the bodies of 18-year-old Haley Kiefer and her cousin, 17-year-old Nicholas Brady, in the basement wrapped in a tarp.
Okay, dude.
They also
sure.
got evidence that the two had broken into multiple houses in the area, including Byron's previously. According to Minnesota law, you have the right to use deadly force if you feel your life is in danger. Yet Byron would end up behind bars in an orange jumpsuit. It was all down to what happened in the house. Their first red flag was finding not 1 or 2, but all the light bulbs in the basement had been removed. They also learned that the shooting hadn't happened when Byron had called. In fact, it had happened a day before. When they asked why he hadn't reported immediately, he gave a very strange answer. According to Byron, in the months leading up to the shooting, he had experienced several break-ins at his home, and several items had been stolen, including cash and personal belongings. He had become fearful for his life and concerned about his safety, so he began to carry a gun at home and installed a security system. That fateful day, 18-year-old Haley Kiefer and her cousin, 17-year-old Nicholas Brady, showed up at Byron's home and began casing the house when they saw there was no car
Wow,
in
so
the
they
driveway.
did do it.
Unbeknownst to them, Byron had moved his car a few blocks away to give the impression no one was home.
Oh my
Then
God,
he went
dude,
down to the
set him
basement,
up.
turned on a recording device he'd hidden in a bookcase, and waited with a loaded gun.
Wow.
When the police found the recording device, it raised more questions than answers. The tape cut a 6-hour recording, which included Byron calling them names, saying where he would make the fatal shot, even before
Wow.
Nicholas had broken into the house. When the moment came,
Wow.
he whispered, "You're dead," after taking the final shot. Then he dragged Nicholas's body away and waited for Haley with another gun. Brady had told the police that the trigger jammed and she laughed at him. But according to the recording, when she entered the basement 20 minutes later and called for her cousin, all that she heard was a high-pitched scream as he fired at her. Then Byron calls her the B word after executing her. Investigators accepted that
God.
Byron could have initially acted in self-defense, but could not understand why he had fired fatal shots when they weren't a threat anymore.
Yeah.
So, he was arrested. Opinions were divided on whether he was guilty or not after all. Regardless of what he did, the teens had broken into his home. In a weird twist of fate at trial, the key evidence against Byron was the audio recording he had made himself. In the end, he was found guilty and received 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
I don't think he had to murder them the way he did, no.
Dnipropetrovsk Maniacs. Sometime in 2008, a chilling snuff film was going viral. The 4-minute video called 3 Guys, 1 Hammer showed a middle-aged Ukrainian man lying on his back in a wooded area as he was fatally attacked with a hammer by 2 teens. This came during a chapter in Ukraine's criminal history when 21 people were executed in Dnipropetrovsk, beginning with the death of a homeless man on June 25, 2007. Victims were chosen at random, and many were robbed after the attacks. Despite investigators' efforts, the killers remained just outside their grasp, and the bodies were piling up. 4 weeks after the killings began, they came to a stop, but the police were still determined to find the killers. 1 week later, the phone of one of the victims was turned on. Investigators traced the phone to its location and arrested 3 19-year-olds, Viktor Sayenko, Alexander Hansa, and Igor Sopronyuk. After finding several items belonging to the victims and gruesome recordings of the executions. All 3 had been born to wealthy and influential parents and turned to lives of crime before deciding to end people's lives for the thrill of it. Before they were caught, they had taken the lives of 21 people in the most horrific ways imaginable, all while photographing or even videotaping their crimes. There were even a few where they displayed the corpse of an animal and made obscene signs at graves.
21
This would
people?
become the evidence needed to seal their fates.
Oh my
Victor
God.
and Igor were given life sentences, while Alexander got away with 9 years because he didn't participate in the actual killings. They were behind bars when the only video of their crimes, 3 Guys, 1 Hammer, was posted on a gore site. It is still one of the darkest pieces of real found footage out there.
Oh my God, dude. This is a good video, yo. Oh, there's one. Wait, it's not. Oh, what am I saying? It's.
If you're looking
That was awesome, dude. Abyssal Detective. Y'all give him a follow or a subscribe and a like. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. I'm super tired now, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was a really good video. Yeah. But anyway, guys, hope y'all have a blessed day. Be good to one another. Like and subscribe, and peace.